My name is Mo and you're watching Disney Channel. No, I just said that because of my colors. You know, we got some blue and some yellow lights today, okay? I don't understand why everybody's using the basic white lights. Listen, get you a ring light that has colors. Okay, baby. We're setting a mood. Okay, we're setting a vibe. Okay, we're talking about the planets today, and I'm blue. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here on this channel. Get on board. Get on board. We're talking about the planets. We're talking about my interpretation of the planets. Stick with me for a second. We're creating a mythology. All these ancient religions and all these ancient cultures have their own mythology around the planets and what they do and how they like creating deities and all of that. You know, we have the power to do that. You know, we do for sure still have the ability to create mythologies around the universe that we inhabit. So today's video is going to be my mythology of the planets. I encourage everyone to kind of sit and think about the planets and like just different things in their material reality. I don't know, exercise that imagination. This is my first astrology video, as you can tell by, you know, looking at my channel. I've been studying, okay? Your girl has been studying. I've been studying the planets, the signs, etc., etc. And I personally have trouble memorizing like what the planets do, what the planets' roles are, and what like the meanings of the zodiacs. And so I came up with this mythology to kind of help me. I've been studying sidereal astrology in particular from the People's Oracle. She has a YouTube channel, she has a Twitter page. I mostly consume her content through Twitter. Her YouTube channel is great, but her Twitter is more like, you know, regularly updated. I read her articles and stuff like that. And so I've been studying sidereal astrology from her. Okay, she's the sidereal astrologer. Okay, put some respect on that. All right, she's created like basically her own methodology of analyzing the stars and analyzing the placements of the planets and all of that. And with that, she has also created her own system of understanding the planets and understanding the birth chart. And what's so inspiring about her astrological work is the way that it centers survival just as a basic component of life. I think a lot of astrologers like to use like flowery language and etc., etc. There's love and light astrologers, and we know, if you know what a love and light astrologer is, you know they're like always espousing happiness and joy and centered, and like, you know, everyone thinks they're an empath and things like etc., etc., etc. The astrologers that I like to follow, and with the People's Oracle in particular, her name is Dana Lynn Knuckles. I have the utmost respect for her because her astrology, okay, let's not get it twisted, her astrology is very much centered on this basic need for survival and this basic like human instinct, okay? Like, and not even on some like, I feel like sometimes people talk about human instinct and they're talking about weird shit. Like, no, she's talking about basic like bodily survival, identity, like all of these very basic components of human existence, and how astrology reflects these basic components as opposed to like these bigger concepts that have different biases that are implicit within them. And maybe I'll make a video about that. I don't know. If you want to understand that, go check out the People's Oracle. I'm not an authority on her astrology. She is an authority on her astrology, so definitely dig into her work if you're interested in what I'm saying right now. But I have been studying her work. I bought her ebooks. I purchased a couple workshops. I'm using her 2021 sidereal astrology guide. I've taken some notes in it, and so I'm looking at my notes right now to kind of, you know, explain how I'm memorizing the planets. Hopefully it'll be useful to you. We can just talk about it, you know? I don't know. I just love this shit, and so I want to say it, you know? I love thinking about this shit, so I'm gonna say it, and you can think with me, and we can imagine about the world around us. I think that's an important, I don't know, that's important for me. Like I said, I'm an Aquarius, so my brain just be going. I'm not gonna deep dive into her work, okay? Like I said, if you want her work, purchase her work. Support Black creators, all right? Support Black academics, period, because this is academic work in my eyes. This is a body of research, okay? So if you want to get into her research, purchase her research. Leaving the meat of how she describes the science out, I'm going to just talk about this core concept of security and how I think that is guiding my understandings of the planets and the sidereal astrology understanding of the planets. I think what you can take away from this video is, 1, look into the People's Oracle, and 2, this will be a good way to understand how to maybe integrate it into your current understanding of the planet. So like I was saying before, I'm really fascinated with how we can interpret a birth chart with this core concern of security in mind, this core concern of like bodily security. And so thinking about that core concern of security, I'm thinking about how can we see security in the placement of the planets in terms of like their distance from the sun, their distance from Earth, etc., etc. So we start with the moon and the sun. So the moon and the sun, they both rule one sign, Cancer and Leo. Popular understanding of Cancer is like, oh, they're emotional. They have like a great sense of family and like community and belonging within a family. And so Cancer is ruled by the moon. And Leo, you know, Leo is known as the fiery, like not in an airy sense, but like in a, I'm here and this is who I am and everybody's gonna look at me because I'm Leo. Okay, what about it? What about it? I'm here. Let's not think about the placement. Okay, let's think about the placement of these planets. Earth, and then we have the moon, which is closest to the Earth, and then we have the sun, which is, you know, the sun is an overbearing presence over the entire solar system, except maybe like the outer planets. But within these inner planets, the sun is just beating down. This beating presence on the Earth. But the Earth persists nonetheless. The Earth is able to thrive within these beating conditions. And the sun provides, you know, warmth and energy and food and life. The Earth with this beating presence provides life. And so we can think about, when we think about Leo, we can think about that. We can think about Leo as a beating presence, but also a presence that's really concerned with like showing up authentically. It's like the sun allows the Earth to thrive simply in an existing sense. Like the sun allows the Earth to persist, to exist, to show up, to be in your face. And Leo, we can think about it in a similar way. Leo exists, and that's all you need to know, man. Like that's all you need to be concerned about. I exist and I exist and I'm here. Okay? So I deserve my authority based on that. Excuse me, thank you. Okay? My name is Leo. What is yours? I don't care. All right? I exist, therefore I persist. And that's the same kind of energy that we're getting from the sun. Now with Cancer, we have the moon right next to the Earth. When we think about the creations of moons, okay? Let's sit and let's think through this with me, because I'm on some like astrophysics shit, right? Moons come to be from like asteroids and like comets and shit just hitting planets, and like piece of the Earth just flies off and it goes into the asteroid belt, and like just this long cycle of astronomical like impact on the planet, and also like just shifting and molding. Like when the Earth was just like, you know, a bunch of lava, it's like all of this shifting and molding is happening. And so when we think about the moon, we can think about like that history of like this moon came to be from impact with the earth from the earth's processes of changing and shifting and moving. And so when we think about the moon and Cancer is this sign that is in tune with with the earth's existence, because it was there. It has this long history of being there, of being in contact with the earth. And so when we think about the Cancer, we can think about like, oh yes, they're emotional, they're this, they're that, they're like family people, but all of that is from contact, close contact with the earth. And it's right there, and it's sitting, and it's witnessing. It has witnessed all of the astrological cycles that the earth has gone through. It continues, it's still witnessing all of these astronomical processes that the earth is going through. When all the humans die out, the moon will still be there. That's a deep attunement with the earth and its life processes. When we think about the relationship between the sun and the moon, we can think about like, while the sun allows the earth to exist and persist, the moon has watched over that process of existence and that persistence. And that's kind of the relationship between the moon and the sun, is that they're both there. They've both always been, they both have like this deep connection to the earth and the earth's history and processes of survival. And so both of those celestial bodies have ensured a base level of security and survival for the planet Earth. The sun providing energy and the moon being there through the molding process, through that shifting and changing of the Earth's surface. And so, yeah. And we can also think about the fact that the moon controls the freaking tides, you know? It's like the moon has a gravitational effect on all fluid on the earth, all the large bodies on the earth. So not only has the moon always been there, the moon also has a cyclical influence on the moving of the surface of the earth. With the sun and the moon, we have this baseline level of security. So now we're moving on to Mercury. And so Mercury, you know, it's the planet of communication. It's the planet of like intellect and thinking and like all of these like mental processes, like things like interpersonal contexts, because you have to communicate for interpersonal context. And it's also like your internal like intellect and expressing your internalities. I think that's what Mercury's all about. That's just, again, my interpretation. When Mercury's in retrograde, that's when communication is all wacky. Like, that's, you know, the things people say, Mercury in retrograde, don't talk to anybody this week. Think about Mercury's distance from the sun compared to the Earth's distance from the sun. So Mercury, it's the first planet in our solar system, you know, it's right next to the sun, okay? Mercury is right there. Mercury rules the signs Gemini and Virgo. And so, you know, Gemini is all about like talking and being a great communicator and like being able to say things in different ways, which can come off as two-faced. And so that's why we get that like stereotype of like, oh, Geminis are two-faced, Geminis will tell you one thing when they mean another, etc., etc. Honestly, I don't pay attention to to astrology stereotypes. They're never useful. My interpretation of Gemini is that Geminis know how to communicate something effectively, period. They know what you want to hear and they know how to say it. They might tell you something you want to hear now and tell you something you might want to hear later, and you have an internal inconsistency about what you want to hear from them. But overall, Gemini is a communicator. Gemini knows how to communicate with you. And maybe you have an issue with what you want as opposed to projecting that onto Gemini. Gemini is a communicator. Virgo is a calculator. All right. Virgo, you know, the Virgo stereotypes of like, they're all about their money. Okay. They're all about being in the right, doing everything perfectly. So that Virgo energy, they got their checklists, they have their calendars marked up till the end of the year. Okay, let's be clear, Virgo energy. And that's like the stereotype with it, but really what all of that is like being able to analyze their material surroundings and understanding, okay, this is what I need to do with that. So thinking about the fact that they're both ruled by Mercury, it's like Mercury is this planet of dictation. That's the word that I've put on this. There might be a better word, but that's the word that I'm using. Mercury is this planet of dictation, of like, whereas Gemini will communicate exactly what needs to be communicated, Virgo will calculate exactly what needs to be calculated, but it's all a matter of getting this internal stuff out. Virgo knows what their internal like responsibilities are and their internal like sense of direction is, and baby, they're gonna do those calculations and they're gonna get it out into the material world. Gemini, they know what internally what they are trying to get out of a situation, and so they externalize that with some words. They say exactly what they need to say to externalize that. They're both these like meticulous signs of dictation. How does that relate to security, you might ask? We're going back to our astronomy shit, all right? Going back to our astronomy shit, all right? So we have Mercury is the first planet in our solar system. What does that mean? It means that sun is beating. Okay, that sun is beating on Mercury, and you know there's an efficiency that has to occur for a planet as small as Mercury to be able to carry the weight of the sun on it. I think the Mercury has this great position in terms of supporting the Earth with knowing exactly how to put things into place, knowing exactly how to dictate things for the Earth's survival. So when we're thinking about like our subject position on the Earth, what our relation to Mercury is like Mercury is in the perfect position to be able to communicate to us by, you know, viewing the astrological chart and viewing our natal chart and all of that. It's in the perfect position for us to be able to see exactly what action needs to be taken for our security. Action, dictation, that's like think about action as being on the other side of dictation. You know, it's like you have to externalize something. You have to take an action, whether that be speech or calculation or just doing the math, doing the numbers, doing the scheduling, doing the calendar work. This is action that we're taking in hyper focus on security. And so that's the position that Mercury occupies in the solar system. And so in relation to Earth, on Earth, we look to Mercury to see exactly how we should be acting, how we dictate, how we communicate, how, etc., etc. So now we're moving on to Venus. Venus is the second planet. And so what does this mean? What does this mean? Well, Venus has, you know, the sun's still beating, period. Okay, the sun's beating on everybody. But Venus gets a little distance. Okay, Venus has Mercury's shadow. Venus gets a little break from the sun because there's a planet in front of it. With that break, Venus doesn't have to be in the position that Mercury is of like action mode. Oh, we need to dictate something. We need to dictate it efficiently. Oh, we need to calculate. We're going to calculate. Venus is more of a position of like, okay, well, Mercury has the calculation shit going on. Let's just look around. You know, Venus has a chance to think about the appearance of things more so than Mercury does because Mercury is so much closer. He's just looking around and being like, okay, is this survival thing actually happening though? People associate it with love. People associate it with beauty. But if you think about appearance, okay, appearances and how things are showing up in the world, we can think about that as a boundary, okay? Stay with me. I have this appearance that I want to show up in, whether it be beauty, whether it be romanticism, whether it be like success, financial success, happiness, success, etc., etc. All of this is a boundary that we are putting around our existence. I want to look like this. This is my appearance. This is the boundary that I'm creating around myself and the rest of the world. I want my hair to look like this. This is a boundary that I've created with you and everyone else between my hair and the way that I like to style my hair, the way that I like to take care of my hair. This is a boundary that I'm setting with the rest of the world. With my top, you know, like with whatever job that I have, with whatever, you know, things that I like to buy, you know. These are boundaries that I am setting with the world through my appearance. Some people think that appearance is like a superficial thing. No. Appearance is a boundary, and I think that's I don't know, I love to think about appearance in terms of boundaries, because it's really like, well, however you want to project yourself into the world, this is a boundary that you're creating with the world and saying, look, this is how I want to show up, this is how I want you to perceive me, and that's important to me. Especially if we're thinking about like I'm genderqueer. Okay, I want you to perceive me, I want my appearance to you, okay, to be genderqueer. Period. And that's a part of my security. That's a part of my psychological security. That's a part of my bodily security. Okay, don't perceive me as a woman and treat me as a woman. No. I want you to perceive me how I want you to perceive me, so that I may be secure in this world. And so that's the position of Venus, is like looking around. Like, Venus no longer has to be moving and dictating and calculating. No, Venus gets the opportunity to sit and be like, this is how it's going to go. Like, just so we're clear, this is the boundary I'm setting. Just so we're clear. Venus rules Taurus, and obviously you can see with that Taurus energy, like the Taurus stereotype is the stubbornness, the being unmovable. Okay, unmovability. Taurus is like, okay, I'm here, I'm grounded in who I am, and this is my boundary. What, you think I'm stubborn? Okay. Are you dumb? This is my boundary that I'm setting with you. I want you to respect my appearance. I want you to respect my worldview. I want you to respect the way that I choose to live my life. That is what's important to me. And so that's that Taurus energy. And then we also have Libra. And this is interesting. I feel like people don't think about these things. Okay, I don't think people think about these things. With Libra, we think about, like, you know, justice and like and ambition and like, yeah, I'm a Libra. I want things to be fair. I want like, but again, fairness comes down to appearance. Fairness comes down to perception. You know, you look around the world, you look at all the things happening in the world, and based on the appearance of the world, you, as Libra sets the boundary of like, yes, this is not fair, actually. Libra says, oh, this is how the world looks? Why? That is the position of Libra, and that's like the influence of Venus on Libra. With that, we've moved from just base level security, the earth exists. Then we move to Mercury with, security. We need to ensure security. We need to calculate and we need to articulate exactly what our needs are so they can be met. Then we move to Venus, which is like, okay, so we've done some calculating, we've done some articulating. Let's look around and see exactly what the boundaries of our security are. You know, like, are we actually secure? Like, Venus has the opportunity to think about the actualization of security, not just moving and trying to get security to happen, but to sit, to be stubborn, to be in this still energy of like, okay, Taurus is like, well, this is what I think security is. So unless you can Libra convince me that this is fair, then I'm not like, what, you want me to change my understanding of what my boundaries are? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Justify it. Libra, explain to me, make this fair. What is the balance? We need to look around and we need to evaluate. And that's the actualization. Actualization as a term, that means not just creation, not just movement, but actualization of like ensuring that something is in the world. So like Mercury brings things into the world. Venus looks around and makes sure those things are the things that they're supposed to be, you know? So as you can see, I'm wearing different clothes. I realized this video was getting really long. I didn't want to upload an hour-long video, so I'm splitting this video into 2 parts. So watch out for part 2 coming out next week on the planets. Okay, we'll be starting with Mars. All right, whatever thoughts you have so far, let me know. Leave them in the comment section below. Let me know if this sounds wacky. Okay, I think it sounds cool. I like understanding the planets in terms of like their literal like properties, you know, especially since like we are in modern times. We have modern technology that with which we are able to observe the planets and observe their properties, and so I think it's a really cool thing to take that modern observer position into account when we're talking about the planets. So yeah, let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, do all that jazz if you enjoyed this video. Yeah, okay, bye.